In the annals of history, few stories capture the sheer unpredictability of life like that of Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a man who, against all odds, survived not one, but two atomic bombings during World War II. His story is one of unimaginable horror, resilience, and ultimately, a profound commitment to peace. This story delves into the harrowing details of Yamaguchi's journey through the catastrophic events in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the summer of 1945. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was a 29-year-old engineer working for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Born and raised in Nagasaki, Yamaguchi was a diligent worker, dedicated to his job and his family. In May of that year, he was sent to Hiroshima on a 3-month business trip to help design a new oil tanker. As the war raged on, the people of Japan endured air raids, shortages, and the constant fear of invasion, but nothing could have prepared them for what was to come. The first blast, it was the morning of August 6, 1945, and Yamaguchi was preparing to leave Hiroshima. He had spent the previous 3 months in the city and was eager to return to his wife and infant son in Nagasaki. As he made his way to the shipyard for his final day of work, the sky was clear, and the city was just beginning to wake up. At 8:15 a.m., as Yamaguchi was walking towards the shipyard, he noticed a bomber plane high in the sky. Moments later, a blinding flash of light engulfed the city. It was as if the sun had exploded just above him. The heat was searing, burning his skin instantly, and the force of the blast threw him to the ground. The explosion was so powerful that it ruptured his eardrums and left him temporarily blind. In the seconds that followed, the world around Yamaguchi disintegrated into chaos. Buildings crumbled, fires erupted, and a thick, black mushroom cloud began to rise over the city. The once bustling streets of Hiroshima were now filled with the screams of the injured and dying. Yamaguchi, dazed and severely burned, somehow managed to pull himself to his feet. His thoughts were consumed with a single purpose: survival. The aftermath: Yamaguchi stumbled through the wreckage, searching for shelter. The landscape was a hellish scene of devastation, corpses littered the streets, and the air was thick with the smell of burning flesh. Eventually, he found refuge in an air raid shelter, where he spent the night in agony, his wounds untreated and his mind racing with disbelief at what had happened. The next morning, he awoke to a city in ruins. Despite his injuries, Yamaguchi was determined to return to Nagasaki. He made his way to a railway station, where he managed to board a train bound for his hometown. The journey was long and painful, but Yamaguchi's determination to see his family again kept him going. Returned to Nagasaki on August 8, 1945, Yamaguchi arrived in Nagasaki. His wife, Hisako, was shocked to see the state he was in. His face and arms were covered in burns, and he was weak from blood loss and exhaustion. Despite his condition, Yamaguchi was relieved to be home and alive. He recounted the horrors he had witnessed in Hiroshima to his family, still struggling to comprehend the scale of the destruction. The following day, Yamaguchi insisted on going to work, despite his injuries. He felt a duty to report to his superiors at Mitsubishi what had happened in Hiroshima. On the morning of August 9, he went to the Mitsubishi offices in Nagasaki, still bandaged and in pain. As he sat in a meeting with his colleagues, describing the blast in Hiroshima, another blinding flash of light filled the room. The second blast, at 11:02 a.m., Fat Man, the second atomic bomb, detonated over Nagasaki. The force of the explosion was immense, and once again, Yamaguchi found himself at the epicenter of an atomic blast. This time, he was less than 3 kilometers from ground zero. The office building he was in collapsed, and Yamaguchi was thrown to the ground, his wounds reopening and new injuries adding to his suffering. The scene in Nagasaki was eerily similar to what Yamaguchi had experienced in Hiroshima: buildings reduced to rubble, fires spreading rapidly, and countless lives lost in an instant. The city, like Hiroshima, was transformed into a landscape of death and destruction. Yamaguchi, now a survivor of 2 atomic bombings, was once again left to navigate the horrors of the aftermath. survival and reflection. In the days and weeks following the bombing, Yamaguchi battled severe radiation sickness. His hair fell out, his wounds festered, and he was tormented by the memories of what he had witnessed. Yet, despite the immense physical and emotional pain, Yamaguchi's will to live did not waver. His wife and son, who miraculously survived the Nagasaki blast with minor injuries, were his motivation to endure. As Japan surrendered and the war came to an end, Yamaguchi's story became known, but it was only in later years that the full extent of his experiences was recognized. He was officially acknowledged as a hibakusha, bomb-affected person, by the Japanese government and later became a vocal advocate for nuclear disarmament. A legacy of peace. In the years following the bombings, Yamaguchi dedicated himself to speaking out against the use of nuclear weapons. He saw it as his duty to bear witness to the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, sharing his story with the world in the hope that such devastation would never be repeated. Despite his suffering, Yamaguchi did not harbor hatred. Instead, he became a symbol of resilience and the human capacity for forgiveness and hope. Yamaguchi lived to the age of 93, passing away in 2010. His life, marked by incredible pain and suffering, is also a testament to the strength of the human spirit. His story is a powerful reminder of the consequences of war and the importance of working towards a world free from nuclear weapons. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story is one of the most extraordinary tales of survival in human history. His experiences in Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just a testament to his incredible resilience, but also a stark reminder of the horrors of nuclear warfare. In a world where the threat of nuclear conflict still looms, Yamaguchi's life serves as a powerful call for peace and disarmament. Through the unimaginable, Yamaguchi found a way to not only survive but to transform his suffering into a message of hope. His legacy endures, a beacon for future generations, urging us to remember the past and strive for a future where such tragedies never occur again.